From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. These are checks of all walks of life and all viewers across the globe. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, and checks for you. 3.5 trillion of them, they're in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the recon and the voting and the bipartisan. And away we go with the recon set for a vote as early as tomorrow. I have the breaking news on this big Afternoons LA broadcast. Then we cut to the fifth stimulus, which starts in just a few days as we go into September, and the raise of your benefits of SSI and SSDI about to happen. Then we cut to big money that viewers are getting, like Mark, who had $32,000 from watching this channel, and I said go get more, and he got more. $50,000. I'll go over all his exciting great news and why you can be the next viewer to get those big payouts. It's a big afternoon, it is a big day, and it's starting right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful Monday afternoon. How you doing? Boy, I told you over the weekend to stay with me because I said to you Saturday and Sunday there was going to be a lot of breaking news and that you couldn't rejoin me on Monday having not watched Saturday and Sunday. You tuned in on record numbers, and I'm so glad you did because the news cycle is totally different right now this afternoon. But first, how are you? Hope you're having a beautiful weather. It's been spectacular. It's been paradise here. It was actually freezing cold. Well, you know, freezing cold for August here in Santa Monica this morning. It was jacket weather. It was so cold. During the day, it's sunny and breezy. It's been paradise. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuned in from and how's the weather. In this recording, we're going to go over those monthly stimulus check and why those Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. A done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you. Single biggest payout we've ever seen in the history of this channel. Viewers have gotten anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 under the third stimulus, and the fourth stimulus is a gazillion percent bigger than the third. And there's only money for you. No money for work, no money for corporations or business America. So it's actually proportionally a lot more money for you across the board. Then we cut to the voting, and the recon will start for a vote as early as tomorrow. I have all the breaking news on this as well. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which is about a few days away from starting. Your SSI and SSDI lift that was promised during the presidential campaign, it's now coming to fruition. And finally, this, as Mark got $50,000 for his channel, $25,000 for rent, $6,500 for utilities, and $19,000 for SNAP. I'm going to show you how you can be the next person to get these massive sums of money. And this is Lalate, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Stay on this video, it'll automatically take you there. And then Evenings Lalate, a brand new broadcast tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers of YouTube, a record for a reason. Across the globe, across the nation, from print to radio to television or internet. There was only two places reporting on this subject this weekend, myself and one print publication. And yet there was a massive change of the news cycle by the hour. That's why you have to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. There's no one like this channel. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. And thank you for the nearly 200 Purple Hawks joining daily. Let's cut to those monthly stimulus checks starting right now. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. They represent, they're giving you monthly stimulus checks. And let's go over what they represent. House, pandemic plus 1 year. This is the House bill. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate, monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. The pandemic is simply not ending, and that means that when you look at these different proposals, the House bill pays a lot more. Pandemic, Lambda, Delta, Delta Plus, all signals the House bill just pays more checks. Pandemic plus 1 year, which means that the House bill would pay more than 12 checks, more than 1 year, which would equate to more than $13,000 from the House. So compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump on the live chat right now and vote House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that you do. If you got the third, you get a fourth. Single individual, 75,000 less. Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 less. Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits included. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone, including adult dependents. And the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. And yet I continue to forget that. It was 2 weeks ago. I was recording on the beach, live streaming to you. And one viewer said, "Hey, Lalate." What? "Hey, Lalate, there's the check behind you." "Really? Where?" "Oh, there he is." "Can you wave at the check?" "Oh, come on now. Come on, Lalate, wave at the check." "All right, I'll wave at the check." "Hey, check, how are you? It's Lalate." You know, I'm not wearing the purple shirt, but good to see you again. Didn't wave back at me. Rude check. It's a rude check. Doesn't wave back at me. No, Lalate, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. I've seen your videos. Oh boy, I hate when I get set up like that. Bernie calls the recon a historic day for the American people. It is. We've never seen a recon this big in the history of this channel. And it's going to be $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. It's a ginormous payout of money. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the voting process as the recon is about to start within 24 hours. It's exciting, delicious news. I go over the voting process, the recon versus bipartisan, everything you need to know across the board. How many days, how many pass, and what's going on today and what went on yesterday. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which is just days away from starting. September's around the corner, and this is the raise up of your benefits of SSI and SSDI. It's getting exciting, and that's in the third part of this video. But first, let's get some money. Boy, I am so excited for you. Get that pen paper ready, because I said I can get you $5,000 of rent. 4 to 6 months of rent a few weeks ago. We can get some rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance right now. And when I was recording a few weeks ago, I said I can get you rent. About 4 to 6 months of rent, about $5,000. Well, I was wrong. I cannot get you $5,000 for rent. But for rent, I can get you $27,000. Wow. Elizabeth got $27,000 for rent. Mark got $25,000. Nancy got $24,000. As a viewer, as a Purple Hawk, as a member to this channel, as a subscriber, Richard, $22,000, and Nisi, $20,000. Yesterday in one of the videos, one person said they got $18,000 for rent. The list is going on and on. Cecilia got money. Jennifer got $5,000 for rent and other items. Randy got $6,000 for rent and other items. Tiffany got $13,000 for rent and other items. Carla got utilities and other items. And Pamela got $12,000 for rent. Then when we talked about SNAP, I said I could get you $300, utilities. I talked about getting you $300 for utilities. And then instead of $300, I got you $7,000. Nancy getting $7,000 for utilities. Mark, $6,500. Angela, $5,000 for utilities. The numbers just kept on growing. And then when we got to SNAP, I said $5,000 to $6,000 for SNAP. And guess what happened? Magic. Ready? Bam. $18,000 Louis got for SNAP. Incredible. $10,000 for John for SNAP. Nancy, $5,000 for SNAP. And then several people got multiple items, 2 or 3 items. And what was their grand total? Are you ready for this one? I am. Here we go. Bam. Wow. Nancy, $32,000. She got from 3 items of this channel. Mark got $32,000 from 2 items on this channel. And Nisi got $23,000 from 3 items on this channel. And then an fascinating twist like I've never seen before. I just showed you that Mark got 2 items and $32,000. And a week ago, I said on air for nearly 5 days, Mark, go get the 3rd item. And guess what? He did. He went and got the 3rd item after I said on camera to him directly, go get the 3rd item. And I said, go get SNAP. And he got SNAP. Did he get $9,000 a snap to bring him to $40,000? No. He got just a little bit more. He got $19,000 for Snap, bringing his grand total to $50,000. My goodness. And I'll have more about Mark's story tomorrow, as some of his neighbors who have now been watching these videos have also gotten upwards of $20,000. And let's go over all this incredible great news starting right now. First, let's get some rent. You're going to go to different places to get this rent. Get that pen and paper ready. I want to show you how this works. We're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. One may say no and one may say yes. Next, I'm going to show you they each all have their own pots of money. So despite what you think, if one says no, go to the next, and they'll say yes, and they have their own pot of money. Then listen to the keywords in this video, because viewers tell me the keywords really help them get approved. And finally, keep on pushing. Are you ready? You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fabulous popularity. They don't know that. So go get it. And don't say those words like Mitch's popularity. And congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got money for rent and utilities, post in live chat. Now let's turn to Snap. Snap is absolutely incredible. As you saw, Mark got 19,000, Louis got 18,000, John 10 to 12,000, and Lynn Glenn got for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got as well. What is Snap? Snap is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them to get it. How much does it pay? A fortune. What is the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year now. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raised your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. You're killing it. I'm killing it. We're all killing it. I've never seen numbers like this. $27,000 for rent, $19,000 for SNAP, $9,000 for utilities, and we're just getting started. And if you guys in Snap, post in the live chat right now. Now we're turning to that money coming back from your states for unemployment benefits and computer error. Where's the landing direct deposit? One viewer got 3,000, another viewer got 5,000. How much? Well, track it. How do you track it? Contact your state. Say, hi, state. Where's that overpayment due to computer error unemployment benefits check coming to me? And when you track it, state, with your computer, can you turn it on and plug in the keyboard? It sort of helps. And finally, the last refund check, which is absolutely deliciousness, is the refund check coming back from the 2020 unemployment benefits you paid to IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. And guess what? It's a waivable check. Yeah, Mitch, sorry. It's a waivable check. The average refund check for this is $1,265. Direct deposit started July 14th and paper checks July 16th. There'll be a new wave every week this summer. Now, here's a personal message before we continue for a second. If you're in the live chat and have not posted your success stories for rent, utilities, mortgage, or homeowners assistance, get that posting and going right now. Because when you post in the live chat, you help other people. The spirit of this channel is me helping you and others helping one another, like you helping others. What's going on? Well, 3 magical things happen when you post your success stories in the live chat, whether you got $10 for Snap or $100. Number 1, you inspire people to go get the money. So then they suddenly see all these people posting all these great sums of money and inspires them to go get it. Number 2, it makes them realize that, wait a second, I should go get that because there's all these other people getting it. And then they realize there's sums of money that they never knew they were entitled to, like Snap. A lot of people never knew about Snap before watching these videos. And then viewers like Art Sullivan and Nisi inspired viewers because they got 3 items. They inspired Nancy to go get 3 items at $32,000. And then they inspired Mark, who was at $32,000, and then suddenly went out and got Snap, and that brought Mark to $50,000. And finally, that updates us about the numbers. All right, let's continue with those unemployment benefits. Where is it landing? Direct deposit? How is it landing? Let's go over all the details. First, let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes and unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah. Go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. 70% of the time it will work. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. And then it'll reveal stuff you never knew. stuff you don't want to know. Like when Mitch was on Dancing with the Stars and wore teal. Was that from the Teal Monster? Or did he get that painted on at Amazon Hair? And finally, it'll reveal the refund check you're getting back from IRS. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check update 2021, starting right now. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you into the fourth stimulus recon. Now, if you're seeing these people just before this who got these enormous sums of money under third stimulus recon, getting $20,000 to $50,000 under third stimulus recon, that was this recon. Now we're at a recon this big, and the other big difference is that third stimulus recon had money for businesses. This has nothing for businesses. It's just for you. This is an absolute enormous sum of money, and the Democratic caucus has already agreed to pass the recon at a $3.5 trillion price tag over the last 2 weeks and 2 meetings. So how do they do this? By taking out of the recon roads and bridges around July 4th. With those roads and bridges in there, the recon was not passable. So they took them out and put them into something called the bipartisan, making the recon passable and the bipartisan passable. The confirmation comes from a conservative publication, which confirms my reporting. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put in the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable, and vice versa. The recon has now made the bipartisan passable, and it will pass as early as tonight. More about that coming up in the second half of this video. But how did we get to this spot? Well, the progressives, once they shrunk the recon by taking roads and bridges out, were able to add more money in there, bringing it up to a big, bold number, and that big number is $3.5 trillion. That's exactly where they wanted to land. Like Representative Richie Torres wanted a bigger number to get some money in for housing. He got it, $3.5 trillion. We need to have a larger recon bill. Torres said, you got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion, Democrat, New York. Then Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, says, we need to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon, $3.5 trillion. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon went big and bold enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. Well, what did they do here? What they did was they protected the recon. The president had told the progressives, protect my recon, because everything that's in the recon is your progressive checks. Jalapa and Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, confirms that reporting. Quote, the White House, this is what the White House told Schatz. Quote, the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon the White House's own priorities. Wow. Now, you certainly saw in the last week how the progressives have really aligned themselves beautifully with the president. And that was last week when we started with no eviction moratorium and no student loan debt forgiveness freeze. We started the week without either, and we ended the week with both. What happened? Let's take the first one. Well, Representative Bush from St. Louis, 1st Congressional District of Missouri, heard the president say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do the eviction moratorium. I don't think it's going to hold up in the courts. And she did a sit-in on Capitol Hill for 2 nights and sat there and pushed the president to extend the eviction moratorium. She pushed like a purple power. She did not accept this as her fate, that there was going to be no eviction moratorium. She had him reverse his policy 180 degrees by Friday. Incredible story. Then the same thing for the student loan debt forgiveness moratorium. Well, they got that moratorium reinstated, freezing the requirement to pay back your debts from Warren and Sanders and everyone across the board. This is what Americans needed, and this is what Americans wanted, and it's incredible, great news. And with that came the incredible detail of why the president is now aligned with the progressives better than ever before. So what you need to know is, what is a recon? How does it get voted on? Who does it? And when do we see it? Let's go over all the incredible details right now. First, who writes a recon, and also what are the terminologies of a recon? In the last 7 days, broadcast media, from my perspective, has gotten an F in reporting the subject matter. When they're not reporting the subject matter, which is 99% of the time, viewers say, how come I haven't heard this? Because they're not reporting. Over the weekend, the whole universe was changing on the subject matter, and they weren't reporting anything. When they do report, 2 stories a week, they butcher it by using the wrong terms for the wrong items. Let's go over the two terms which I use on the channel, recon and bipartisan. And what you need to know is how to differentiate the two, to know it better than the broadcast media, because they are literally misreporting it day in, day out. So the recon is also called reconciliation. It's also called the budget bill. You recognize it by its price tag, $3.5 trillion. Bipartisan is also called the infrastructure or roads or bridges. You recognize it by its price tag, $1.5 trillion. People quoting an article about the recon are a Bernie or an AOC. People quoting a bipartisan is like a Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, or Mitt Romney. All right, now that we understand the two terms, let's go over who votes for a recon. A recon is voted only by Democrats. Every single Republican will vote against the recon. No worry about that at all, because we have 50 of 50 Democratic senators who are going to pass the recon with a tie-breaking vote with the vice president herself. Next, who writes the recon? The recon is written by Democratic subcommittee members, and those Democratic subcommittee members are delegated different subjects. Under the Constitution, each subcommittee has different subjects. For example, House Ways and Means is responsible for writing stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When those subcommittees are done, they send their pages up to Chuck, 10 of 10. Let's say there's 10 subcommittees and they write 10 pages. They send them up to Chuck. He puts a big S on it, and that's for a Senate bill. That Senate bill will start voting as early as tomorrow. That's coming up in later this video. And when you see the bill, it's important to understand that's not the law. It's not even anywhere close to the law. In fact, it's going to get modified. The reason we haven't had the bill is because the Democrats don't want you to see it until it's debuted. No worry about it. There's no constitutional requirement to have them show you what's in the recon before it debuts. No constitutional requirement to show what they're voting on, voting against. And when we see the recon, then we see the recon. And away we go. But later in this video, I'll show you why that recon is going to get modified so dramatically that it's going to look very different by the time it gets to law. That's coming up later in this video. But how do we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapal, who Rich and Schumer letter say Chuck called the vote on the recon. And now we are, within 24 hours. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100+ who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be giving you monthly fourth stimulus checks. Wow, Purple Power. You have to push and ensure these people keep their promise. And it's just 100? Oh boy, that's a lot. And then can we top that? We can. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee recently wrote the president a letter themselves saying we're going to give you monthly fourth stimulus checks. Whoa. The same subcommittee we just went over? Yes, House Ways and Means. Recently wrote the president a letter saying we're going to do monthly fourth stimulus checks. Purple Power, you got to push. You got to keep these people their promise. They're promising you monthly fourth stimulus checks. And can we top that? We can. As the president did it, Biden did it. He went overseas 6 weeks ago for a ceremonial signature, and now the formal signature was just days ago. That is for something that is not in the recon. And the great news is it makes it easier to pass the recon. What is this thing? The global minimum corporate tax rate. Exhausting to say. And why is this great news? Number one, easier to write the recon because this is not in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon. Easier to vote on the recon. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, in just a second, we'll be going over the voting of the bipartisan roads and bridges. What happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? If you did by chance not tune in over the weekend, shame on you. We'll go over why the senators today, Monday, were reacting to what they did on Friday to Sunday and were not happy. Republicans were not happy with it. Oh boy, it's very interesting. Then we cut to the recon. We'll go over the procedural path, who goes first, who goes second, and then the substantive items. It's all heating up in the second half of this video. And also, we cut to fifth stimulus. But first, if you need help with rent, utilities, food, or internet, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. Where are they? Open the description of this video. Go down, you'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link, it'll send you to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. The volunteers will help you get that food, rent, internet, and more. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as we continue with the breaking news on this big afternoon's LA broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community.
The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LA with big news this Monday afternoon about your big recon vote. We're just hours away for the excitement to unfold. And how are you? I hope you're having a beautiful afternoon. Thank you for joining me all weekend long because, boy, there was a lot of breaking developments over the weekend, and I hope you didn't miss any of them. Viewership was through the roof. It was our best Saturday and Sunday in many, many months, so thank you for tuning in. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. The only channel of its kind in the nation. No one is reporting on the scope of coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in either broadcast media or print media or the internet, except here. So subscribe, like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to what's happening in just a few days with that big surprising details of the president and fifth stimulus. The president, during the campaign trail, promised to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI. He did not deliver. Then during the transition papers, he said he was going to do it again. He did not deliver. So no worry. Now the Democratic senators and Democratic House members are taking care of this for you. When? Starting in just a few days. In what's called fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus starts in September, goes to a vote by November, then law, November, in your bank account by November, and then the benchmark applied in December for next year's benefits. Let's go over how it works. Step one, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. All right. Who is this for? For you, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Step one, they'll raise your benefits up. Lifetime. Step two, they'll apply a new benchmark. That benchmark will be inflation. It will be applied in December. That benchmark will be transitory. Inflation will be transitory. What does transitory mean? It's a word from Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, which means that it's going to be a temporary spike. How high? I'm reporting 5%. Much of Wall Street is using that number as well. And there was a lot of economic data last week. I went over it extensively over the weekend, signaling that the 5% may be on the low end, but we'll see. Let's use that as a benchmark. First, they'll raise your benefits up, then they'll apply the benchmark. And let's say it's 5%, then your benefits will step up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at +2, +5%. Then they're going to move the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law, 80s law. Remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Then they're going to move the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and also stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll be able to do a pair dance at your wedding like Rob and Sandy and no longer fear a loss of benefits. And if your benefits were lost, they will be restored. Meantime, there will be a fifth stimulus check those House Ways and Means members represent. That will be next year, will not overlap with fourth. Finally, if you're in the live chat and you notice people with an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name and you don't have one, what's going on? You need to become a purple hawk today. The link to join is under the video. When you join as a purple hawk, you're delivered from me, handwritten daily from the YouTube community page, a breakdown of all the big money under third stimulus for you to get and what's slated for fourth and fifth as well. Why is this critical? Because the Purple Hawks have learned that the focus should only be on these big sums of money in these stimulus packages. The focus should not be on the stimulus checks. Let me show you why. Number one, in fall of 2020, second stimulus was coming to fruition. $600 stimulus check. I told viewers, do not be focused on a $600 stimulus check because when it comes and lands, you're going to spend it within a week, it's going to be gone, and then you're going to wonder where the next check is. I said under second stimulus, be focused on the other sums of money that are in there. And that's why Tyrone got $15,000 for his family of four out of Boston, paid all his rent from December to May, alleviated all that financial burden for rent for nearly half a year. Then, in January of this year, I launched the Purple Hawks to describe people who pounce, hawk, hawk, as soon as something comes available before anyone else, trying to snatch up as much money as possible. Why did I use the term Purple Hawks? Because when looking at third stimulus, there's a $1,400 stimulus check. And I said, okay, do not focus on that $1,400 stimulus check. It's going to come. It'll eventually come and you'll spend it. And after a week, you'll say, where's the next check? I need another stimulus check. There's not going to be another stimulus check in February. But rather, I said, focus instead on the big sums of money in third stimulus. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,000. Money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now was the expression at the time. I told viewers I can get them $14,000. You clearly see that I've now been able to show Purple Hawks that there is fortunes of money in these stimulus packages that you need to apply for that are not automatic based. And that when you apply for them, you get them. Massive sums of money of $32,000, $20,000, $15,000, and $50,000. Finally, Purple Hawks have learned the notion of financial freedom. How does financial freedom work? It works the following way. You got bills at home. You maybe got 10 different types of bills. Rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage, medical. And then you got the car to fix. You got the roof to fix on the house, and then you got to buy some shoes for the kids for school. Well, the government's not going to buy some shoes for the kids, not going to fix your roof on the house, and is not going to fix the car in the driveway. But the government will pay for the other items because they're in the third stimulus package and in the fourth stimulus package. So do not sit around wondering where a stimulus check is coming to fix the car. Instead, the other 8 items, get the government to pay for them because the government's paying for them in these stimulus packages. So that $30,000 of your bills are paid for of those 10 items. And then you have $30,000 still in the bank that you didn't have to spend because they were picked up by the federal government. Now you got that extra money to pay for the car and the kids' shoes. That's how financial freedom works. That's how going for the big sums of money and fourth stimulus will be even bigger. And with that, we go into the final 15 starting right now. And deal done. The recon is effectively done, even though it hasn't started voting. Why? Because the Democratic caucus members have already agreed twice, the senators, that they're passing the fourth stimulus recon. This is $3.5 trillion of checks. There's no checks for businesses. So unlike the second and third stimulus packages that were eaten up enormously with business grants and business loans, this is just checks for you. So it's proportionally even more money than we ever seen before. Number 3, it's just all checks for you. And imagine all the money the viewers got from third stimulus like this. Fourth stimulus is like this. So what are some of those checks? Bernie Sanders calls it a historic day for the American people. You should be celebrating. You should be celebrating because Bernie Sanders fought a generation to get you personally these checks. And these checks are coming to you under fourth stimulus recon. It's absolutely incredible. Here are some of the checks. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, free internet checks, Then lots of checks for workers, lots of checks for seniors, checks for workers, like workers checks, union checks, collective bargaining checks, independent contractor checks. And then checks for my seniors, checks for medical expansion, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. Incredible, great news. Let's cut over now to the bipartisan. So the bipartisan was introduced a week ago today in bill format on the Senate floor. From Monday to Friday, they did amendments. During those amendments, they battled over words. They had two competing amendments on crypto, which I've been detailing on Overnight's Crypto. It'll be coming up right after this video. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you there. Finally, when we went into Friday night, the senator said that by Saturday morning at 9 a.m., they're going to vote on the bill and be done with the bill on the Senate side. It didn't happen. Then on Saturday night, they said they're going to do it again. It didn't happen. And then they said it was going to happen Sunday morning. It did not happen. Why did it not happen by Sunday morning? Because on Sunday morning, we learned that the Republican senator from Tennessee said, I'm not going to speed up the process, but I'm not going to block anything. That was what he said on Sunday morning, meaning that they could have gotten this all done by Saturday or by Sunday, but this one guy said, I'm not going to speed it up. Well, he was not being very honest from Tennessee, because guess what? After that recording, after afternoons L8 on Sunday, after evenings L8 on Sunday, what did this guy do? He came in with the attempt to do 13 amendments just himself. What a bad person. What a bad person. He said he wasn't trying to slow it down. He wasn't trying to speed it up. Oh, he was absolutely trying to slow it down. And Kristen Sinema did something good, and she just basically blocked him from doing his amendments. Ironically, the Republicans went after this Republican, saying, how dare you do this to us? And Chuck Grassley, who you know has been in the Senate for just a few seconds, he's just a very elder, very well-known Republican senator, said, you, sir, have wasted my time. I have been here for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we got nothing achieved, which was true. They really got almost nothing done. All you did was sort of drag on chatter about nothing. We could have been done on Saturday. So Grassley was not happy, and a lot of other Republicans were furious. So where did this guy put everyone at? This guy put everyone at doing a vote-a-rama in the Senate for the Roads and Bridges bipartisan Monday and Tuesday. It takes 50 hours. This vote-a-rama will be different than the ones you see in the past. Number one, it has to be 50 hours. That's number one. Number two, it will be simply a procedural requirement. Nothing will actually come from it because there's no more amendments done. They have to literally sit there and chatter for 50 hours about nothing and exhaust themselves because this one guy wanted to be a bad person. I was about to curse. Yeah, so they're not happy. The Republicans are furious. They said, we should have been done on Saturday. This is a waste of everyone's time because of this one guy. So they're going to be doing a vote-a-rama for 2 days. It will either be done Monday night or early Tuesday morning in the thick of morning. It's 50 hours nonstop. And again, nothing substantive will come from it. That brings us now to the recon. When does the recon start voting? Immediately thereafter in the Senate. So the recon starts voting immediately in the Senate right after. Now, you and I know if they're in the Senate doing the Roads and Bridges Tuesday morning at 3 a.m. in the morning, they're going to be exhausted. So they're not going to do the recon at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. You know, maybe they come back into the off. Maybe they come back in Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening and work for 2 hours. But they're going to be exhausted by Tuesday. So give them a little bit of slack. Chuck Schumer confirms that they're going to do the vote-a-rama for the recon, and that's going to be 50 hours. Now, here's where we are right now. It's too hard to predict if they're going to only need exactly 50 hours for the recon in the Senate. They may need more hours, but that is where Chuck Schumer thinks it's at the moment. So don't be a counter and say, oh, it's Wednesday, Thursday. It's Thursday. Why are they still there? They're dragging their feet. No, it's going to be a lot of dramatics. Now, remember, what you're going to see during the vote-a-rama is for the recon is going to be different than the vote-a-rama for the bipartisan. For the vote-a-rama for the recon, you're going to see Democrats trying to modify it, and then you can see Republicans trying to have it crash and burn. Then, when they're done with that, everything goes to the House. All right, now let's turn to the subject matter of first and second. If you're with me over the weekend, I explained this extensively. If you're just joining me now on Mondays, let me explain to you what's at issue. So, the Leader Schumer had said to the American people, that the recon was going to go for a vote first in the Senate. It did not, obviously, but no cause of concern because Nancy is the gatekeeper with the president. Nancy has made very clear that you only send her in the House from the Senate, the recon and the roads and bridges. If you only send her the roads and bridges, it's going in the wastebasket. And the president has made clear, if you only send him the roads and bridges, it's going in the wastebasket as well for him. So here is something you're not going to hear anywhere else except on this channel. The Senate is still in session. It's one of the longest Senate sessions in over a decade. They're working every single day for 3 weeks, nonstop, 7 days a week, 16-hour days. And their session is not over. The House's session is over, but can be resumed by Nancy if the recon is done. Guess what? If you only send Nancy the roads and bridges, she's not going to call them back into session. Yeah, you're going to only hear this on this channel because obviously that's the easiest way to do it. Why would you call people back into session for something you don't want? You don't have to. All right, let's go over how this works. First with the president. First, the president says that he is not signing the roads and bridges if that's the only thing that lands on his table in the White House. You have to send him both the roads and bridges and the bipartisan. This is what he says. As the bipartisan, if that is the only thing that comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. They have to come to me in tandem, the roads and bridges and the bipartisan. The roads and bridges and the recon. Then he also says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan bill and forgetting about the recon. I propose another piece of legislation, the recon, and both are equally important to me. Okay, so the president has your back. He's not just signing the roads and bridges. He's signing the roads and bridges and the recon. Then Nancy has your back. Nancy knows media, knows the press, and when she issues a quote that uses far more vigorous, aggressive language, she knows the quote will go viral. And this was a quote she gave over a week ago. The quote appeared everywhere this weekend because it is so aggressive in language. This is Nancy talking. As I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill as well, plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be bipartisan unless we have the recon bill passed by the United States Senate as well. And then Jalapal confirms that the House Democrats are backing Nancy, and they're not going to vote in favor of the bipartisan if that's all they get. We did a poll of our members, and the overwhelming majority of our caucus said they're not going to vote for the bipartisan without the recon. So there you go. All right, so Nancy has your back, Chuck has your back, and the president has your back. So let's go over the steps procedurally for the recon, then the substantive. All right, the steps for the recon. First, as I said to you, vote-a-rama 50 hours in the Senate, presumably starting as early as Tuesday, if not Wednesday. And then there could be extra hours or days added to that if there's something that Chuck does not anticipate from the Republicans. Once the recon is done, and the bipartisan will be done by the end of tonight, if not tomorrow morning, then the two bodies of legislation are sent to the House. The House is currently not in session. Nancy Pelosi will bring them back into session with Steny Hoyer with an announcement that takes 24-hour order to bring them all back into session. They're either down the hall in the same building, and if they are out of town, they're ordered back in town within 24 hours. Then when it lands in the Senate, then the House, they'll take up the recon and the bipartisan together. Here is where the changes will happen. The changes will happen on the House side and the Senate side. First step is the Senate for your recon. And here is what's important for you to know, is that we currently don't have the recon bill in format yet. But when we do, and it debuts on the Senate side, that recon, it's going to get modified by the Democrats. Why the Democrats? Because they've not had their hands on it. More about that in a second. Then it goes over to the House, and the House members modify it as well. When they modify, it goes back to the Senate to get final vote again, and then off to the president. All right, now let's go over substantively the issues you need to know about the recon. Not law yet. It's one of the most important things to remember as we go into this week. The recon is not a law yet. And so when that recon debuts on the Senate side and you see a bill, it's going to get changed because Democrats have said they're changing it. What's going on? Democratic subcommittee members wrote it, but it's just a few people. And guess what? The people who are not on those subcommittees, which is basically almost everyone else, have said, we're going to modify it because we have had no access to the bill yet. House Democrats, Senate Democrats. Step one is the Senate Democrats. They're going to modify the language. So if something's wrong in that recon, they're going to modify it. Then when the recon goes to the House, you have a whole House of progressive Democrats, very, very progressive, who want lots of progressive ideals and payments to you. And if something's not in the recon, they're going to modify the language again and put those things in there. With that, it brings us back to Representative Bush and the eviction moratorium. We started last week with no eviction moratorium and no student loan debt forgiveness freeze in place. But Representative Bush said that's not sufficient. She acted like a purple power. She did not consider the president's announcement a week ago today that I'm ending eviction moratorium, tough luck, as final law. It was not final law. It was just a proposal. So she sat on Capitol Hill and pushed for 2 nights, having vigils to get the president to extend the eviction moratorium, the true embodiment of the purple power spirit. When you see that recon, if it's not perfect, then make it perfect by doing what Representative Bush did. Pushing back, and making things go from incorrect to correct. And with that, we're going to have a lot of big developing details over the next few days. There's going to be a lot of strange narratives. Get ready for the fake narratives. You know those fake narratives are going to come. Oh, there is one Democrat who says something negative about the recon. There's just going to be those articles. They just love running those articles. They're always wrong. They're 100% wrong all the time. We found a person underneath a cardboard box in a corner who was an unknown Democrat who's going to say they're going to blow everything up and stop it. Yeah, they're just going to run those articles. It's just, you can predict it like a bad San Francisco hairstyle. And with that, stay with me, because coming up next is Overnight's Crypto, where I go over that crypto amendment legislation in that Roads and Bridges. And then coming up at 5 o'clock is Evenings Lalate. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you proud of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day. And stay here as Overnight's Crypto starts up right now.